Hello guys, good day. This is Anna of Reinforce Big Love, your fellow positive reinforcer. Today we're going to talk about being stuck. The secret to turning the stuck energy in you into fresh motivation. Everybody feels stuck in some point of their lives. Even myself, when I was a teenager, when I was in my early 20s and late 20s, at times I feel stuck. But when you feel stuck, it doesn't mean that you're wrong, you're a flaw. It just means that you're okay. You're just on the edge of breakthrough, that there's something in you that calls. It's like a signal which tells you that, hey, you need to level up or try something new. Your brain is calling out to you to feed it with new things, new experience, which you might think could be a better one, better experience. Now, when you are in that situation, like you were in the stuck situation, like myself before, it's not that easy when you're in that story. But somehow, some way, this is life. When you get over something, there goes another problem again. And life, it's schooling life. It's forever schooling until the day you die. So just to let you know, you're not alone. Somehow I can make connection to my audience that myself too, I got stuck at times. And I learned to get over it. I just consider it as a calling to try something new, to try new hobbies, to divert my attention, or level up, or completely just remove myself in the area and try something new, which is a kind of new life, new department. That's what I'm trying to say. New department, new area wherein I could master another skill. Now, when you're in that story, when you're in that situation, the most important thing you have to do is somehow, some way, once again I said it, acknowledge it. Acknowledge the feeling of stuckness in you. And it's okay. It's just a signal, and it doesn't mean that there's something wrong with you. It only means that, your brain is sending you a signal to level up, to try something new, to feed it, to make you better, stronger, smarter. Now, another thing is that after you've identified your feeling, you acknowledge, you're aware that, oh my gosh, I feel stuck and I don't know what to do. I'm not happy, kind of, quote unquote, I'm not happy. I don't know what to do with my life at the moment. So the second thing you have to do is to identify the cause. The way we feel stuck at times because it's actually helpful to name it, to take away its power. Now, most of the time we feel stuck because we lack of clarity. We don't know what we want. We don't know where we're going. We've no goals. We think that we've no purpose. Even though you already have the dream job that you're thinking of when you were in your college days, now you finally have it. You don't think that you could be any happy. You want to be happier. You want to go abroad. You want to transfer into another department to learn new skills. So somehow it's important to identify the cause. If you have no clarity, you really got to find a good one, to create one for yourself. And to some other instances, I've also experienced the lack of clarity, and I also experienced the second one. This is fear of failure or judgment. I worried before, if I do something new, like if I've decided, before I decided to go to Saudi, if I do that, what would be my dad said that I've already applied to Canada? And I couldn't wait any longer. He was actually upset that time. So I finally decided that, somehow my dad couldn't do anything anymore. I've already signed a contract. So I just have to go on with it. But before that, days before the interview, that is my, my first work abroad experience in Saudi Arabia. A few days before the interview, I've already thought about my dad could get upset about it. And since I'm already in that place, I was just with my friends who wants to go to Saudi, so I go with them, and I'm thinking there's nothing serious here. If I ever get accepted or not, no hard feelings. But then I already have a thought in my head that if I ever get accepted, since I already sent my application to Canada and I've already paid for it, my dad paid for it. I'm already thinking that he might gonna get upset if I ever get accepted, and then yeah, that's already, I've already feared my dad's judgment that time, and even though, right there and then, after I got accepted in the interview, I've already signed a contract to see the salary, and before I told my dad about it, I know he got upset because he already paid for my application in Canada. He already went there to the agency for my application to support me, and now I'm going to Saudi Arabia. So he told me, like, where do you want to be? What do you really want? I've already, I wasted his time and energy that time, but I got to move on. I got to go on because I wasn't really currently fulfilled at my job. That's why I was looking for something else. Although I don't really know where I'm going, but I just have to go on and on to find it, to find my clarity. So, to some people, when they have fear of judgment or failure, they don't want to try at all. They just want to stay to where they are until their retirement. They don't want to go try something new, some other careers, or apply to other institutions which could give them better, benefits. You'll never know until you try. And to some people, they feel stuck because they are in the comfort zone trap. You know the way when life feels okay, but not fulfilling enough to push a change. Like, you're just there, same routine every day from the time you get up in the morning and when you come home. It's the same thing you do every day. And it's somehow, you're comfortable. You're not stressed, and it's giving you enough wages to live by, to provide for your family at the same time. But you don't really know if you're happy or not, or just nothing changed every day. And then you become, you start to question yourself, am I really happy here? I mean, am I looking for something else? Something kind of better, better opportunity? So that's why they feel stuck, even though they already have a stable jobs. And another cause of being stuck is when someone is overwhelmed, like too many options, tasks, responsibilities. Those responsibilities and tasks made them paralyzed to be just stuck in that position. Like, I have my friends before, they couldn't, even though they badly want to work abroad as a nurse, they stayed at home because they want to take good care of their family, of their parents. So yeah, they stick around, and some of them, they, after a couple, like more than a decade, they finally went off abroad. And some of them, they're still in the Philippines at the moment. So in that time when I was there, we were talking about it, and they said, like, look, there's nothing I can do. I have to look after my parents, which is fair enough. That's their choice. But, they still want us to get in touch, and somehow hang out somewhere else. And, they still somehow wish to have other opportunities. But, as I've said earlier, some of them, after a decade, after 10 years, they went off. They can't take that anymore. They can't take that stuckness feeling anymore in their head. Lastly, this so-called burnout will also make you feel stuck. The way when you are mentally and physically drained, your motivation suffers. Like, when you're drained, I also feel this way. Tired, no motivation, no direction, just rest. I mean, I don't know what to do with my life. Having this 4 consecutive weeks of hectic schedules, nonstop. And I feel like, I want to be somewhere else where I could have a balance, work-life balance somehow. But I can't do anything other than rest. But at that time when I was in that situation, I was already slowly trying to look up other opportunities to transfer because I can't survive the stress. Now I'm already away from that. I'm already off from that institution. But although I'm off from that institution, I had fun and I made friends. Now, what are you going to do about it when you feel stuck? Pause and think about your intervention. And talking it out actually helps, especially when you're talking to the right people. The people who wants what's good for you, because they could tell you honestly, suggestions wherein, if it will cost them to be away from you for you to be happy. Somehow, like my colleagues, she said to me that, she feels stuck in the area. So I suggested her, so if you want to go somewhere else, other departments which could challenge you, then go for it. It's just the office is just like a minute away walk, and then you can talk it out. Simple as that. Even if that caused me to lose another good colleague of mine, good friend, I would be happy to see her happy, even if we're not together, if we're not working together. I want her to be happy. And another thing that can help you, try to realize what you really want is journaling. Ask yourself what you really want, what it is about, and what you can do about it. You can talk to yourself via journaling. Try to write your problem and your solutions, and then execute your solutions. Does it work? And then you can journal it again. You can even write the progress day by day. And somehow you get to know yourself too. And after your reflection, pausing, for reflection, you can try something new. If that could be one of your solution. But of course, that could be, new hobby, new routine. It could be outside work. Try new skills. You might want to transfer to another department or another institution to hone your talent, your lifelong dream talent. Or you might want to build a business, a startup of your own, or you might want to build a portfolio, or, you might want to shift career. So try something new and adamantly stand on it, fight for it. Another thing is that it's important to seek inspiration. You can read, listen, or talk to people who overcome same struggles. Look, you're not alone. Everybody feels stuck at some point in their lives. So you could gather information from different people. And make sure you've asked the right people. And another thing you can do is that you can set a small, doable goals. Like, for example, you want to shift career. You want to be, like in nursing here in Ireland, you're currently medical surgical nursing. You want to try community nursing or palliative nursing. So set a small and doable goal about that you might, ask your manager to give you some, you might want to enroll yourself in that, should I say, area. Like you could have a course about that area, and then you study and ask your manager to spare you time for it, to help you out with this scheduling with regards to the course, so that you can finally transfer to that palliative area or ICU. Could be another department which can make you happy. That is a change of, not necessarily change of career, but change of institution. But with regards to change of career, look, if you want to try something business, you want to build your property portfolio, so that's actually a total breakthrough, total something new that you really have to face your, life alone with yourself and that decision. It's never going to be that easy, though. But if that's what your heart is telling you for the longest time, then it's worth fighting for. It's worth the risk. And that's one of the most wonderful things that you could ever remember when you're already old. That you have taken risks and you succeeded. Although you didn't become a billionaire, you actually built a good portfolio for yourself to make you financially free enough. Now, that is what I'm trying to say about set small, doable goals. Break the big picture into manageable steps so it feels less overwhelming. You won't feel paralyzed about your dream, your breakthrough dream. Now, another thing is that when you fail, Reframe failure. See mistakes as a learning experience, not a proof of your stuckness. And as you tried something new, new hobbies, new game, new sports, you know, making mistake is, you're not going to be great when you're starting something new, but you have to start to be able for you to get to that level of greatness that you want. So a part of that, failure will always be there. And don't take it seriously though. Just go on and, that's your decision. Face it until you finally get to the point where you're comfortable at that new skill, new job, new career. And when you stay long enough in that area, look, you're going to get better and better into that greatness level. And it's also important to take care of your energy. Rest, exercise, mindfulness. Mindfulness means you can do meditation or just walk around, in the nature, forests, like mountain climbing, or just merely just walk on the hills and reconnect with the nature. That's, another way for you to just get off your mind from work, from those big goals, and just reconnect to something else with yourself and nature. To reignite your energy. And lastly, after all, it's also important to ask for support. You need if you ever need mentor, coaches, and trusted friend who can provide you good perspectives. But this is part of your research when you're on the verge of trying something new. You'll never know. You never know until you try, and then you get there. I hope I shared something valuable today, though, and it's another way for me to reconnect to my audience to share this feeling of being stuck, because at times I do feel stuck, and somehow trying to solve it, and I shared it with you, and it's fulfilling for me in my part to overcome something and share it to others. I hope I shared something valuable today. If you ever love this episode, you can forward it to your friends and family. You can follow me in YouTube, Facebook, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, even in X. Reinforce Me Club. By the way, this is Anne, your fellow positive reinforcer. I do appreciate your time and have a lovely day ahead. Thank you.